Assalamualaikum guys, I am Mansoor Hussain and you are watching Conceptual Biology. Today we are going to learn about different types of cell signaling. So before going on, we should learn about the types. What is a cell signaling? Basically, cell signaling is a process which involves the transmission of a signal from a sending cell to a receiving cell. So this process involves two types of cells, a sending cell and a receiving cell. So we have four basic categories of chemical signaling found in multicellular organisms: paracrine signaling, autocrine signaling, endocrine signaling, and signaling by direct by contact method, cell to cell contact method. We have four types of signaling: paracrine, autocrine, endocrine, and cell to cell contact signaling. So we should know main difference among these types. Answer is, the difference is the distance that signal travels through the organisms to reach the target cell. Basic difference is the distance that signal travels through the organism to reach the target cell. So what is paracrine signaling? Often cells that are near one another communicate through the release of chemical messengers. What are chemical messengers? These are the ligands that can diffuse through the space between the cells. So this type of signaling, in which a cell communicate over a relatively short distance, is known as paracrine signaling, or short distance communication is also known as paracrine signaling. One unique example of paracrine signaling is synaptic signaling, in which nerve cells transmit signals. This process is named for the synapse, which is the junction between two nerve cells where signal transmission occurs. Now we have mechanism of synaptic signaling, how this takes place, which is example of paracrine signaling. So when the sending neuron fires an electrical impulse which moves rapidly through the cell or plasma membrane, traveling down along a fiber-like extension known as axon. When the impulse reaches the synapse, it triggers the release of ligands called neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters would quickly cross the small gaps between the nerve cells. When the neurotransmitters arrive at the receiving cell, they bind to the receptors and cause a chemical change inside the cell, as we can see in this figure. The neurotransmitters are released into chemical synapse, are quickly degraded or taken up by sending cell. This phenomena resets the system, so the synapse is prepared to respond quickly to the next signal. Then we will talk about autocrine signaling. In autocrine signaling, a cell signals to itself, releasing a ligand that binds to a receptor on its surface, or depending on the type of signal, to the receptor inside of the cell. This may seem like an odd thing for a cell to do, but autocrine signaling plays an important role in many processes. Such as autocrine signaling is important during development, helping cells take on and reinforce their correct identities. From a medical point of view, autocrine signaling is important in cancer and is thought to play an important role in metastasis. Metastasis is basically a type of cancer. We can define this, the spread of cancer from its original site to the other parts of the body. While in many cases, a signal may have both roles. A signal may have both roles, can behave as autocrine and can behave as paracrine both. A signal may have both effects, autocrine and paracrine effects, binding to the cell surface as well as other similar cells in the area. Now let's talk about endocrine signaling. When cells need to transmit signal over long distances, they often use the circulatory system, such as blood, as a distribution network for the messages they send. In long distance communication, endocrine signaling is an important type of signaling. The endocrine signaling can be defined as the such type of signals which are produced by specialized cells and released into a bloodstream, which carries them to target cells in distant parts of the body. Signals that are produced in one part of the body and travels through the circulation to reach faraway targets are known as hormones. Hormones are involved in endocrine signaling. In humans, endocrine glands that release hormones such as thyroid, hypothalamus, pituitary, as well as gonads, testes and ovaries, and pancreas also. Each endocrine gland releases one or more types of hormones, many of which are master regulators of development and physiology. Physiology refers to functional biology or functions of body organs. For example, pituitary gland releases a growth hormone, GH hormone, which promotes the growth particularly of the skeleton and cartilage. Like most hormones, growth hormone affects many different types of cells throughout the body. However, cartilage cells provide one example of how growth hormone functions. It binds to the receptors on the surface of these cells and encourages them to divide. So that's how they function. So last we have signaling through cell-to-cell contact or cell-to-cell communication. So this type of signaling occurs through gap junctions in case of animals and plasmodesmata in case of plants. So gap junctions in animals and plasmodesmata in plants are tiny channels that directly connect neighboring cells. These water-filled channels allow small signaling molecules called intracellular mediators. Intracellular mediators are water-filled channels that allow small signaling molecules to diffuse between the two cells. Small molecules just like calcium ion, which are able to move between cells, but large molecules like proteins and DNA are unable to move through these channels without special help or aid or assistance. In plants, there are plasmodesmata between almost all types of cells, making the entire plant to make one giant network. So in plants, plasmodesmata create the one giant network to provide cell-to-cell contact, signaling or communication. We have example of natural killer cells and healthy cells. So what happened in this example? Two cells may bind to one another because they carry complementary proteins on their surfaces. If they haven't complementary proteins, they cannot bind to each other. This is the reason two cells are bound through each other via complementary proteins on their surfaces. So when the proteins bind to one another, this interaction changes the shape of one or both proteins. Or simply we can say that protein conformation changes occurs that results in transmitting a signal. So this kind of signaling is especially important in the immune system where immune cells use the cell surface markers or signals to recognize the cells means body's own cells and cells infected by pathogens. So immune cells recognize two types of cells, body cells and those cells which are infected by the pathogens. So hope so you have gained the lecture. I usually upload such videos twice in a week for you people. So like my video, don't forget to hit the bell icon. Stay connected, stay tuned, stay healthy.